Shine with Kendéll Lenice. Real talk for real people. Let's shine together.
Welcome to this episode of Shine with Kendéll Lenice. I am your host, Kendéll Lenice. This is a life podcast. Life be lifing, but I'm here to help you through it. As always, welcome in and tell a friend. And make sure you share this episode out because I know your friends and family are going through life too. This will bless them as well. All right, on to this week's episode of Shine with Kendéll Lenice. Hey everybody, welcome to Shine. I'm so glad that you're here. Welcome in, and don't be stingy. Tell a friend. I hope you're doing well. I hope you are doing splendid. I hope you are doing fabulously. I hope you are doing amazing. I hope you are doing well, swell, and all of that good stuff. How y'all doing? What y'all doing? Happy November. I realized, I said, well, wait a minute. Have I talked to the people? And I was thinking that the app I did an episode as we hit November, but I realized I didn't. It was the tail end of October. I'm sorry, y'all. Been doing a lot, dealing with a lot, going through a lot. In my work, just doing a lot of different things. As you know, I'm active on my other social media outlets. But I don't forget about y'all. Y'all know, what is it? At least twice a month, I will do an episode of Shine with Kendéll Lenice. We are in our 10th season. And next month, we will be closing that out and starting a new year with season 11. I can't believe it. And then I may try to do, depending on what you guys want, because I know you reach out, to me. I'll do 2 episodes in a month, sometimes 3, sometimes 1, depending on what is going on. And I used to do them every single week. And I think I'm going to get back to that because I got a lot to say and a lot to talk about with you all. I can't wait to tell you what's going on season 11. But as always, each season we switch it up. Same upliftment, same life coaching in a different way. But this, I think 11 is going to be, I'll give you a hint. Season 11 is going to be about real conversations that you need to have with yourself, that you need to have with God, that you need to have with folks. And I think that's just a hint on what we're going to be doing in season 11. But we are still in season 10. And in season 10, what are we talking about? We are talking about words, focusing on words. Now, you know these words. We're talking about words like forgiveness and compassion, love, trust, all of these words. But what do they really mean? And how can we unpack the words and apply them to our lives in a new way or give a new perspective on words? That's what we're talking about season 10. Today, we're going to be talking about trust. Trust. But as always, we're going to start with this week's life note. All right, it's time for this week's life note. All right, what is a life note? This is your first time tuning in. You're like, Kendéll, what is a life note? A life note is a saying or quote that gets us through this topic on this particular day as you're listening, or while you're riding your car next week, or something to carry you throughout your life. This week's life note is by, now some of the folks I don't know. This is a quote. Trust takes years to build, seconds to break, and forever to repair. Trust takes years to build, seconds to break, and forever to repair. All right, y'all, we're going to be talking about trust today. What is trust? And as I was thinking about trust and what trust is and looking at that quote, I was like, okay. And then I looked at something else that said the best way to find out if you can trust someone is to trust them. But I know some of you are like, I don't trust folks. I got a hard time trusting people because people have burnt me, let me down, showed themselves as untrustworthy, showed themselves as sneaky, showed themselves as wanting to hurt or harm me, showed themselves that they were not really for me, showed themselves that they've been tolerating me and not celebrating me. And I don't deal with people. I keep my circle small. Matter of fact, it's not even a circle, it's a line, because I don't trust people. I have trust issues. I have a hard time trusting people. And I know I'm talking to someone out there right now who is afraid to trust again. And I'm not even going to lie. I can see, I can understand, and I can relate. Most of all, I can empathize with that because it's a few people out there that I don't trust. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard to try to trust again when the people that you've trusted and allowed into your world, into your space, show themselves as untrustworthy. But of course, you can't take that out on everybody you know, everybody you meet, everybody you see, people you work with in your family, if those are not the people that have, quote unquote, done you wrong or showed themselves as untrustworthy. And that's what we're going to talk about and kind of redefine what trust may look like in your life, even after the heartbreak of someone letting you down, and that person that could have let you down could have started with your mother or your father or whoever raised you. And you might have had trust issues since you were a little girl, a little boy. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, because most of the wounds and most of the trauma starts in childhood. Now, some of you might say, no, I trusted my parents. I trusted my family. It's when I started getting into friendships and relationships that it was difficult for me to trust. And I get that too. And I understand, because no burn is like when somebody that you've trusted and, it doesn't, gosh, when you think about friendships and you think about relationships and you think about how you may have trusted someone with some small things and they showed themselves that they couldn't be trusted, and then you shared big things, and then you definitely seen with different people when you decided, hey, I'm going to trust again. So I get it. I understand. But in order to grow, in order to heal, we have to find what the root was, and we have to be honest with what the root was, and to be able to own it and to say, yeah, that hurt me, that made me mad, that made me upset, I'm afraid to trust, I'm scared to trust. All of that has to be flushed out so you can be able to trust, because to be able to trust somebody is beautiful. To be able to look at friends and they trust each other with their lives. When you look at relationships and they trust themselves with their lives, where people are tight with their family and they truly trust their family and they keep their circles small. That's a beautiful thing. And trust can be had after you have, experienced situations with people where they showed themselves. Because I've heard people say, I ain't trusting nobody. I know one of my friends that I've had for many, many years, at least 20 something years, I used to always tease him and be like, you got trust issues. And he'd be like, yep. And he's never been married, never had children, never really got into a serious relationship because his trust was broken when he was young, and so it's very hard. And when I think about people like that, they miss out on certain parts of life and certain relationships because of somebody or somebodies who showed themselves untrustworthy. And it's just a natural thing to bring, unfortunately, that baggage over to, the next person that you want to be able to trust, or you think about trusting. And then unfortunately, some people try to trust again. They get burnt again. So then it's like, okay, what do I do? But to have someone that's in your life that you can trust, it has to be the other way around too. You have to be the person that they can trust. So let's talk about what trust is. So when you think about trust, what is trust? And let me tell you what the dictionary says, and then I'm going to tell you how I can gauge if I can trust someone, my acronym. So trust in the dictionary says a firm belief in their truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. And then it says being reliable. That's what trust is. Believe in reliability, truth, ability, or strength. And then it has, I should never have trusted her. So it gives you the example on what it is. So when I thought about, okay, I'm going to do this episode on trust. For me, what does trust mean? And I thought about the letter trust. Trust is Trust. Trust. So I thought about it like this. And this is my little acronym. Using the T, the R, the U, the S, and the T. So the first T, true. They gotta show themselves as true. True authentically to who they are. True to what they say. True to their word. True to their own convictions. True to being the best version of themselves. Because that shows me if somebody is true to themselves, true to the people around them, true with their feelings, their emotions, their words, their whatever, then okay, then that's somebody that I can trust. The R, real. They have to be a real person. It can't be fake. It can't be phony. It can't be a facade that they're putting on. It can't be them pretending to be something they're not, because I can't trust someone I don't recognize because they're not real. The U in trust, understanding. They have to be understanding for me. Understanding when I mess up, when they mess up, when someone else that they know messes up, makes a mistake, they're giving grace to someone. They have to be understanding of someone else's story. Because think about it, if you're sharing your story with someone and you're being vulnerable, you want them to be understanding. Because if they're not, you're going to go right back into your shell, and it's going to be difficult for you to trust someone. So they have to be understanding. My S for my acronym is steady. In order for me to trust someone, they have to be steady, meaning they can't waver. They have to be firmly planted in the ground as far as what they believe, their convictions. They're not all the way up here or all the way down there. They're pretty steady, even keeled, meaning that when you wake up tomorrow, they're going to be the same person. They're not really moody, because that's hard to trust someone when you don't know when you see them what you're going to get, right? And my last T for trust is thoughtful. It's easy when someone is thoughtful, when someone is considerate, when someone's thinking about you as well as they're thinking about themselves and thinking about other people, thinking about people that they know and don't know. That shows me the type of person and personality that is, because all personalities don't mesh and gel. You ever meet somebody right off the bat and you instantly trust them and you don't know what it is? Think about my acronym. This is my little acronym that I made up when I thought about that. Think about it. When you meet someone or get to know someone, and you're starting a budding friendship with them, or the people in your family that think about it. They're true. They keep it real. They're understanding, but not judgmental and all of that. They're steady. You know what you're going to get when you see them. And they're thoughtful. They're thinking about how you may feel. Think about that. So when I think about being trustworthy, those are the things that I look for. So I'll ask you, what do you look for? Definitely, send me an email, comment if you can comment within this episode, because I would love to hear from you. When you think about someone being trustworthy, what does that mean? As I looked in research, it says trust means that you rely on someone else to do the right thing. You believe in the person's integrity and strength to the extent that you're able to put yourself on the line at some risk to yourself. Trust is essential to an effective team because it provides a sense of safety. There's that word, safety. Safety is one of the words that's a love language for me. Safety, feeling safe. And that's just not safe from the boogeyman or safe from, in the car, whether, in the car driving, or safe meaning that, when it's dark, they're the light and it's kind of, no, I'm talking about emotionally and mentally safe, where if you feel safe with someone, then you trust that person and you feel like you can share your soul, you can share your heart, you can share who you really are. Because so many people are walking around fake, not real, that are, because they're afraid to show themselves and they don't trust people that they can be 100% themselves, right? And still be able to get the likes, the love, the respect, the honor, being able to share their intimate lives with people. Because nowadays, honey, people ain't using trust. Like the minute if it's gonna be good on social media, if they're gonna talk about it, talk about your business to the people at work, talk about your business to their family members, or share, things that you don't want them to tell. It's difficult to trust people now because we're in a different type of life where people are not honoring people anymore, especially on social media. To get a like, they'll share your business, or to, it's so, these days are, the way these days are set up, y'all, they're set up a little different when it comes to trusting. But learning to trust again, it's about healing and figuring out where did these trust issues come from. We're going to take a quick break and we will be right back. Hey everybody, this is Kendéll Lenice, the Remix Coach. I just want to remind you that I'm a certified transformational life coach, healing and aging coach. Been doing this for over 20 years, and I'm currently accepting new clients. For more information about my life coaching services, please visit KendellLenice.com. Now back to the show. We are back and we are talking about trust. Don't be afraid to share this out. Make the commitment to follow Shine with Kendéll Lenice by subscribing if you're able to subscribe, download if you're able to do that, and most importantly, leave a message. Because y'all, I trust that you would do that. Because, some of you come back every single time I upload. Like I said, I'm never going to stop doing Shine with Kendéll Lenice. This is my baby. We are in our 10th season, and I get a lot of feedback, and I have over the years about how certain episodes have helped. because it's all about education, elevation, and entertainment. So we're going to entertain, you're going to educate, and you're going to elevate to be the best version of yourself. We're talking about words, season 10 up today. This week is all about trust. So what happens when you don't trust someone? It says feeling like you don't trust people can hurt your ability to form relationships, get help when you need it, and participate fully in your community. While it's normal for trust levels to vary depending on your social experiences, significant lack of trust might be a sign of a more serious problem. And that's what I was talking, that was from verywellmind.com. And that's what I was talking about. You have to find the root of it. Because when you lack trust from people, you're going to live in a lonely existence, because you're not going to be eager and all willy-nilly to open up to get close to others. And that's how you last great relationships and bonds that you can have for forever. And you want to be able to be close to others and not be on an island on your own. So if you don't want to be that island, then you are going to have to eventually trust someone, because that's how you can connect to people on a different level. You want to have meaningful relationships in your life. And any person you relate to is a relationship. But if they're being vulnerable and it's difficult for you to let it go, let it flow, and to be able to have that kind of vulnerable conversation and have the intimacy of sharing who you are with anybody, you're going to have to learn how to trust. So most people stop trusting because of a negative experience that they've had when they were able to let their wall down, and they've been betrayed from a friend, a relationship, a parent, or someone that they trusted would hold their hearts in their hands, and then they didn't. So now it's difficult for you to be able to trust again. But trusting, and you can trust. This is the thing. I want you to trust again, right? But it's at your own pace. Because if you trust in the Lord, right, and you go to Him for your discernment, and He gives you that, and He gives you who to trust and who to not, because you can't just be out here recklessly trusting people. We know this, right? But you have to be able to trust in God and trust in yourself and your decision-making skills, and trusting that your inner gut and in your inner teller, that knower that you have to be able to trust that. So before you can trust anybody out in these streets, you got to be able to trust in God, and you got to be able to trust you. And you can use just your discernment, because it's almost like, I grew up in South Jersey, right? And Atlantic City's beach, right? I'm talking about back in the day, and I can't vouch for the beach now. But I remember my cousins and I, we used to be on the beach. And these guys used to have these detectors where they would go on the beach and they'd be like, and they were looking for metal or for money. And it would be these long, they looked like it was like a long metal bar, and it had like metal detectors. And every time they got to the metal, like, it would be going crazy. And that's what your discernment is, right? When you know, let me tell you something, every single time I ignored my discernment that God has given me, that knower on the inside, I have lived to regret, lived to pay for me not listening, especially when it comes to people and whether they should be in your life or whether you should trust them. Every single time I have ignored it, it had turned out to be that inner knower in me, that discernment was right. And instead, I wanted to give people grace, give people the benefit of the doubt, give people, and sometimes it is what it is from the gate. So I'm not saying walk out there blindly trusting everybody, but you have to decide and you have to use your wisdom to who you want to trust. And then you have to start doing that, because I want you to have meaningful friendships, meaningful relationships, having your family, and all family can you trust? No. All friends can you trust? No. Well, then they wouldn't be friends if you can't trust them. All the people that I should say. But it is beneficial to trusting. And I know when it breaks, it's hard. Like things that can break trust. Somebody lying, somebody being secretive, somebody breaking promises, somebody being hypocrite, somebody backstabbing, manipulating, emotionally abusing, not taking responsibility for their actions, and so on and so on and so on. And then when you don't trust a person, you have to understand why. I was looking at, what site was this one? I just want to make sure I give the credit where credit is due. It's called rd.com, and it says when not to trust a person: when they have lacked integrity, when they don't trust others, they have a history of being unreliable, they break the rules and push past boundaries, they don't take your feelings into account, they lack empathy, they ignore personal space and boundaries, and they're inconsistent and lack, and that's it, their emotions and they lack in their emotions and actions. That's my thing, inconsistency. When somebody is very inconsistent and someone shows you that you can't trust them, you should really listen to that. And it happens all the time. But there are a lot of red flags when it comes to someone being untrustworthy. But the biggest red flag, y'all, is knowing. You know who to trust and who not to trust. And then, unfortunately, sometimes people disguise themselves as trustworthy. And then you see, all you have to do is spend time and really pay attention and see what their friends say about them. And listen. The people that know them, and you may not know them, you can't judge someone else based off of their relationship with someone else. That's true. You can't do that. However, you can take things into consideration and test people with small things to see. And you have to be able to trust yourself first. But, trust people with small things to see and take time and to see if they have integrity, to see if they have their personal integrity, to see if they are real and honest, to see if they trust you, and that's how you get that, by spending time talking to people, getting to know people, talking to, their friends to see if they have friends, and build and collaborate together to try to trust. It's important to trust because you want to have meaningful relationships, right? You want to be able to connect. You don't want to be on that island by yourself. At least I hope not. Do you? Do you? So you want to be able to trust. I want to know why it's difficult to trust, and how did that heartbreak of not being able to trust, or someone, violating your trust, how did that affect you? And how can you see that moving about in your life? I want you to really think about that, because some people cannot see it moving around in their life. They just don't trust. They can't remember a time where they didn't trust somebody. And that is the issue. That's where the healing starts to take place. And it's not, again, I want to stress, it's not freely like, oh, I'm going to trust everybody. I know y'all ain't doing that anyway. And it's not smart to do that, because someone should deserve your trust. But most people are not trusting themselves with I did a episode about choices and decisions too. That's in my my new book, Excuse Me, Your Unhealed is Showing, and how, some people have made not so good choices and decisions, and now they don't even trust themselves. So you really have to start with trusting God, trusting yourself, and then it may be a little easier for you to know who you should trust in life in general, because you can't trust everybody, right? You can't trust everybody. Although you might have a heart to want to trust, you still have to guard your heart and not be able to, just willy-nilly do that. Why don't people trust? Why do you think people don't trust? What do you think? I can tell you, more of what we are talking about in this, and I could continue to make this a crazy long episode, but I don't want to do that. I want to keep it moving. I just want to really have you think, because trust issues are often connected to some negative experience that you've had where you were let down and you immediately was like, listen, I ain't trusting nobody no more. They are showing themselves as untrustworthy. But how do we trust again? How do we trust again? What do you think? How can you trust again? I can tell you how I can trust again. Baby steps. Taking time to really get to know people, to have conversations, to spend time with people, to see, what's going on in their lives, to see how people respond and react to them. Are they, to me, talking about everybody and their mama? Are they sharing everybody else's business? Are they judgmental to other people? And if I see that, because think about it, if you can't trust them, if someone else couldn't trust them with information, then why would they hold your information and be trustworthy to you? I look at things like that. Like, you can't come to me gossiping about everybody else and then we're friends. It was a meme. I wish I could find that meme. It was a meme. Let me see if I can find that. Look, wait a minute. Let me see if I can find that. Who posted that? Let me see. Let me see if I can find that. And I cracked up because it was so true. It was like, I can't find that. It says something about, you don't tell me your feelings, or you don't say something, and oh gosh. But then they were like, because she tells all, oh, what was that? And I don't want to get it all wrong. I wish I could find it. Darn. I wish I could find it, but it was like, duh, I ain't telling you my information because you just told me everybody else's information. But how do you rebuild trust? RamseySolutions.com, they have how to rebuild trust in 8 steps. Take responsibility for the role you've played. Practice forgiveness. Leave the past in the past. Allow time and space for grief. Follow through on small things. Choose to practice vulnerability. Attend to the deeper issues and co-create your new future. Trusting again. How do you trust again? And I know you might be thinking like, forget that. I'm just going to stay to myself. But you got to make the decision to be vulnerable and to trust, but make sure it's the right people. And as always, you have to start with you. You have to make the decision, even if you don't talk to the people who have lost your trust. You have to decide to forgive or to be forgiven if it was you who broke someone's trust. Make a conscious decision to honor what happened in that and let go of the past. You have to be open to repairing broken trust, not with the people, but reconcile it in with yourself. And to be able to say, you know what, I am willing to put myself out there to trust again, but this time I will use wisdom, and really do the work to trust, because that's the only way, y'all, you're going to have meaningful relationships. And to all the people out there who are trying to get into relationships, if you have trust issues, you're not going to be able to have a deep connecting relationship. It's going to be in the shallow waters. And if you want that friendship, that solid friendship, that's as solid as a rock, that you're doing TikToks together, you're going on vacations together, you're talking about the most intimate things, you're supporting one another and your families and future endeavors and businesses and all of that, you're going to have to show yourself trustworthy, and they are going to have to do the same. And that's how you can build a relationship. You want to communicate your feelings. Hey, I like you as a friend, or I want to rebuild something in the family, or listen, but I'm going to tell you right now, I have trust issues. So be patient with me, be upfront and honest. Let's communicate about this. I think that that's a big girl or big boy conversation that you can have. Like, I really, you dope. We could be friends, but I'm gonna tell you, I don't trust everybody. So, bear with me. Or, if you're reconciling with family, like, hey, you broke my trust before. I miss you. I love you. Let's rebuild this thing. We're going to be honest. We're going to talk about our feelings. And it might sound kumbaya to some people, but you can regain trust again. Think about the people who have been married. Now, some of y'all are going to be like, okay, that's too far. Some people, I know people personally. I can name about 3 couples right now without even thinking about it. It's been cheating going on, right? They have cheated. They've been married over 20 years. All of the couples, one over 15, one's like 25, something like that. And the other one's about 20 something as well. And they have forgiven their spouse for breaking that trust in there. And they have gone on to have amazing relationships, marriages, amazing family life, and they have forgiven because the trust was broken. Now, some of y'all like, wouldn't be me, I'd be out. But you can't really judge someone else with that. But it is possible. And people will tell you that it is possible with prayer, putting God first, trusting Him, and then being able to trust yourself again and forgive yourself. But the important thing is really getting to the root. Why do I have trust issues? Why is it difficult for me to get close to people? Who was the first person that let me down? And then who was that second person, and what happened, and how did this become a ripple effect? All right, y'all, trust we're talking about. Hopefully you can just look at trust in your life to see if you are trusting. Do you trust yourself? Do you trust God? Do you trust other people? And if not, why don't you? And ask yourself, do you want to have intimate, tight relationships? Do you want to trust again? And if you say yes, then you have to work towards doing it. If you say no, that's okay too, but you have to discover why. Because you don't want to have disconnects with everybody and you're on an island alone. And that's not a good feeling. All right, we're going to start with this week's takeaway, and then we're going to wrap up. All right, it's time for this week's gem. Takeaways from today's show. All right, we are talking about trust on this episode of Shine with Kendéll Lenice. The takeaway for me, and you got to tell me yours in the, if you're able to leave a message or send an email to kendalllenice@gmail.com. My takeaway for today's show is to have a meaningful, deep connection, relationship with anybody, relating to anyone, you have to be able to trust both ways. If you feel it in your soul that this new friend, this new relationship, this old family member that you cannot trust, and you prayed about it, you gave it to God, you trust your discernment, then that's okay too. You can walk away from that situation. But if you're looking to have any type of relationships that are solid, Trust is going to have to be on the menu. And if you don't want it on the menu, I get it. I understand. But what that means is you're not going to have something deep. It's always going to remain in the shallow waters. All right, y'all. Trust. I'm doing this episode in the wee hours of the morn. So if I sound relaxed, I am. But I thank you all for taking the time to listen to another episode of Shine with Kendéll Lenice. The next episode is all about love. That is going to be the word for the next episode. And love is big. Love, we can go all four corners. Love here, love there, love everywhere. And some of you like, I ain't loving no more. I can't trust and I ain't loving. I don't want to show no compassion. Everything that we've talked about. But I want to get you to see it in a different perspective. All right, y'all. Thank you for listening. God bless. Peace. Please share this out. Don't be stingy. If someone else needs to hear this, send it to them. If you know somebody with trust issues, definitely send it to them. I love y'all. Peace. As always, thank you for listening to Shine with Kendéll Lenice. We are in season 10, y'all. Thank you for rolling with me the entire time. To all my loyal listeners, I thank you. All my new listeners, I hope you repeatedly come back each episode. This is a life podcast. I am so appreciative of everyone here. For more information about me, you can always visit KendéllLenice.com. Follow me on all social media platforms at KendéllLenice.com. And oh yeah, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for listening in. As always, thank you for listening, and please tell a friend. God bless y'all. Peace.
Shine with Kendéll Lenice. Real talk for real people. Let's shine together.